Welcome to Spoiler Chat for Avatar: The Way of Water. If you have seen the film, you should watch this. If you have not seen the film, you shouldn't. Or maybe you don't care. Then you could watch this as well. If you would like to hear our spoiler review for Avatar: The Way of Water, then click the link in the description. If you're listening on a podcast app, just keep listening. What'd you guys think? What do we need to say spoiler? There's nothing to talk about spoilery about this movie.
All right, so
it's all just exactly the first movie over again, right?
It's not exactly the first movie. No. All right, well, okay, so we do like this movie starts and it kind of gives us like a recap of the last 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right, kids are born. They literally say whatever Sigourney Weaver's character's name was, like her human character, I can't remember. They say, and then she was born in a way we can't quite understand. I was like, oh, okay. So we're not quite sure why Sigourney Weaver's back in this movie yet. James Cameron decided he wants her in this movie. We'll figure out later down the road how she can be back in this movie. So I was like, fine, maybe we'll address that. We didn't in this movie. Wait for the next one.
Sure.
And then pretty much immediately their forest gets destroyed just by landing spaceships. Like it's, what was the big emotional center of Avatar, the destruction of the forest, is like oh crap, the spaceships are back, the forest is destroyed, the Teary cries for a minute, and then Jake's like, we gotta get out of here. So I really felt like Cameron was just trying to like get us out of the forest as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just needed an excuse. So I don't know, that all kind of felt like the recap of here's what happened the last 13 years, that felt fine. I mean, obviously I appreciate that catch up. And then let's get them out of the forest as fast as possible just felt super rushed of like, and the humans are back and they're burning everything and here are the bulldozers and we have to run away.
For one, I'm so glad that they didn't spend 10 minutes reintroducing us to everyone and like reminding everyone about like the first movie, because like I felt like they did the bare minimum of like getting us back into the world. A lot of movies would have been like it's just a really like cheesy reintroducing us to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, I feel like kind of fast forwarded, skipped that. As far as like, yeah, they burned the forest pretty soon into it. I think it's the ramping up of the stakes, right?
Yeah.
Like the second wave is going to be worse than the first wave.
But like it wasn't even like in the first movie, the forest being burned was an attack. And this is just ships landing that just happened to be very volatile as they landed. And I just wondered, like, well, did this happen the first time the ships landed? And like, why are we surprised that this is happening?
No, because these ships are like being rushed there, right? Like it's not a normal transport of people. They are coming so fast that they have to decelerate so aggressively in order to land.
Is that the case? Are these ships different than the ships that I assume happened before the first movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, well, how do we know that? How do you know that's absolutely a different situation? It's not just the exact same ships. But now,
well, I'll give you two reasons.
Okay,
one,
please.
The first ships didn't completely burn up the forest upon landing, and right.
Oh, I don't know. We never saw the first.
We never saw them land in the first.
We have
one.
no idea. Like when the first movie starts, the colony's been established already. We never see the first ships land. Like we
Gotcha.
see a transport ship drop them off, but that's a much different situation.
Well, yeah, I would say my impression was absolutely that this was rushing to get there. Like they sent them super fast, and so that they had to decelerate a lot more aggressively in order to slow down.
So like
because like how fast you go somewhere, like how much energy you need, the same amount of energy to stop.
Right. I understand physics. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reaction of the people with the forest burning didn't seem like, oh yeah, this is the 10,000th time this has happened to our forest. It was like, no, this is a unique event that is normally more destructive than other landings. Was the impression I got.
I'm just curious to know why then the first time or in previous times that the humans have traveled to Pandora, they didn't use, I used to assume they would use the same max velocity every time because you want to get there as fast as possible because it's a very long journey.
I don't think so.
Did they just kind of saunter over the first couple times and then this time?
Yeah, because they're cryo-frozen, so like there's not a like human rush, but like it's way more expensive to go quickly than to go at like a normal pace.
Okay.
I could
I
see
don't
a
get-
world too where it did burn just as much in the first movie, but there was like not many humans in the first movie. Whereas in the second one, they came en masse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There
for
were
sure.
far more ships and, they were, it was just a
they
much
definitely
bigger presence.
They hit the ground running this time around. I'm sure the first time there was like, let's explore. And this time it's like, here are the mechs and the bulldozers. And
Yeah.
let's go.
This
to town.
time they're like, we're going back and we're not leaving no matter
Right.
what.
Okay.
We're going to bring everything we can to make sure that we don't get beat back like we did the last time.
Yeah.
And then
So,
like a decent amount of time passes too, because they've been hunting whales and all kinds of, they like built a whole world in like 3 years or something like that. I think they mentioned at some point.
Wasn't there a 1 year later Chiron early in the movie?
Yes.
Was that after the montage of here's what we've been up to the last 13 years? Was it then 1 year later, or was it after
Yeah.
the? Okay, all right.
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we talk about the central bad guy?
Yes. Yes.
Because,
that's my biggest problem.
I really, really like that character and what they did with them.
I did too.
Yeah.
I like Stephen Lang, and I
Sure.
like that he was brought back
Mhm.
as a Navi. I thought totally fine. Like, I thought it was kind of interesting that you had all these dead characters from the first movie, and they had this very clunky explanation from Giovanni Ribisi about how like they download your memories and blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
So it was cool having him back, and he obviously has this vendetta against the Navi and Jake Sully, and then like the scene where he goes to find the battle where he was killed in the first movie. I thought that
Mhm.
was really awesome. Like where he finds his body, his skull, he finds the arrows, which again, in this movie, like when you see Navi just fighting and they shoot arrow, oh, that's cool. And then when you see a Navi shoot an arrow into a human, you forget that the Navi are 12 feet tall, and they're not shooting like arrows, they're shooting spears in comparison to human. I love that. I love the fact that like humans are getting pierced by essentially a spear from
Sure.
from a bow and arrow is the
Yeah.
coolest idea. So,
Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
sees the memories, his own memories on that
like
screen.
the shoulder
the
cam.
video
Yeah.
camera. Yeah, shoulder
Yep.
camera, and he realizes it wasn't even Jake Sully. It was
The Teary,
Natiri who did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
who's the
because-
only name I can remember from anyone in that movie.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I liked his little
I-
video blog introduction too, where like Navi version of himself is watching himself on the screen talk to himself, saying like, "Well,
Yeah.
evidently I got killed. I mean, I don't know how that happened, but evidently I did. That's why you're
Yeah.
seeing this." And blah blah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
Like imagine that character, and like they download his memories, and then you tell that character, right, when you die, record a video. He's like, I'm never gonna die. Like
Right.
so I liked his cavalierness of like,
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you're never gonna see this anyway.
I'm fascinated by a character who is like essentially the same,
Mhm.
right? He has all the same memories and stuff like that up to a certain point, and then he doesn't.
Right.
But yet he is fully aware he's a totally new creature, and separate in some way. But like as far as thought processes goes, feels identical.
Mhm.
And then when he goes to the point of his own death, like where his former self had died, and this is something he had never witnessed
Yeah.
himself. He sees it, and he picks up his own skull and he holds it, and he has this huge avatar hands and this little tiny human skull. And you're just like, what is going through his head? And then he crushes it. That is just the pure cinematic experience.
Mhm.
Like, that was a cool scene.
How did you feel that Spider was his son?
The fact that he was his son, or like how are babies made?
No. Well, yeah. Explain.
I wish they had
Narratively,
set up
how do you
some
feel
kind
about
of romantic interest in the first movie, because it's a little out of nowhere that they're like, oh, by the way, somebody had a kid and it happened to be the big bad guy, even though he had no sexuality whatsoever in the first
Right.
movie.
Like, at no point do you see him like kiss his wife or like talk to the, and which is a toddler, right, in the first movie, or even a baby. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't like I was a child, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the kind of child you can like interact with. It's like you're just a little lump of a thing still.
Sure. I mean, I was fine with it, but it was weird to be like, oh, by the way, the hardened military guy who we never revealed was married or had a girlfriend or whatever the situation was.
Or even
he
has
a kid.
child. Like, doesn't matter if he's married or not. Like, it's just
right.
the fact that he brought his kid with him too, of all places. Or if this kid was so little, was probably born on Pandora. So yeah, it felt.
And what
weird
happened
that
to the
he had this
mother?
family backstory.
Like the mother, like at the end of original Avatar, people are leaving, but people are also staying.
Yeah.
So they explained why the kid couldn't get on the plane, but they
Right.
didn't explain why the mother didn't stay behind with her child.
Unless
You know what I mean?
Obviously Stephen Lang's character, Colonel Quidditch, whatever his name is, Quidditch.
We'll just call
When
him Colonel.
When the Colonel, yeah. Whenever he's not killing Na'vi, he's at home being full-time dad. I think he's pulling double duty there. So those scratches on his face, that was from the kid. That wasn't from a Na'vi.
Anyway, I had those questions. Didn't ruin the movie at all for me, but I was wondering. I wonder if they're going to answer those things.
I guess that's when I was talking. Like, decisions were made. Sigourney Weaver's Avatar is now back as a kid.
Mhm.
The Colonel has a baby, which is now Spider. And I don't think Cameron has quite thought through why this is the case yet. He just decided, for me, from seeing this movie, it feels like I want this to happen. We'll figure out why this happens down the road. That's a movie 3 problem to deal with.
Well,
I
they've already
disagree in the
shot
sense of
movie
he's already
3.
shot movie 3. Like, if anything, Cameron has overthought these movies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then why can't he give us a little something better than the...
You mean, why can't he answer all the mysteries in this movie and leave nothing for the next one?
Well, I mean, that is one question. Like, if you have this huge world, why do you have to keep dragging mysteries out over multiple... Like, unless Sigourney Weaver's characters can become the main character in subsequent movies, which could be the case.
I think it's very possible we're headed that way.
That's the reason I'm more on board with her character than I am with Spider. Here's the other thing. The Colonel does not die in this movie.
Right.
No.
And this is my fear. My fear is that Avatar 4 is just going to be the Colonel hunting down Jake Sully again. And like, we've already had 2 movies of these 2 people. And he's a good bad guy, but he's not like Shredder. I don't know. He doesn't feel like the big bad, right? Like, he's just a very determined Colonel. And I don't know if I want to watch another movie of here's the Colonel again trying to kill Jake Sully, and there's a big battle. And
I think if we had gotten Avatar like a carbon copy, like no complication to the character whatsoever, right? They bring him back as an avatar and they don't introduce a spider element to it, then I would agree. But I think they've complicated him a little bit.
Oh yeah,
with Spider. I mean, in the first movie, he's like delusionally macho, right? And in this movie, his avatar is delusionally macho.
Okay.
To the extent that he outwardly says, this kid has nothing to do with me. I'm just going to leverage him. And then when the moment comes for him to do the delusionally macho thing and like
he breaks.
Yeah.
And he's totally going to be
Darth Vader.
Cause his death.
Great.
It does cause his death. Now, his death is preempted because his son, who he just saved, if he hadn't done that, he probably wouldn't have saved him.
Right.
The son who legitimately does hate him.
Yeah.
Still saved his life.
Still saves him. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the third movie, we're going to get a redemption story for the Colonel.
I think he might join the good side.
I do too.
What I kind of want to see from the next movie is I want to see the other Na'vi start to realize that like Jake Sully's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and then turn against him and outcast the whole family.
or like the Colonel, as Na'vi Avatar, gets like a bunch of like separatists, other Na'vis, to like rally around like, hey, Jake Sully's the problem. We have to go take care of him. So like I almost want to see the Colonel fighting with other Na'vi to defeat Jake Sully.
Sure.
So this is why I don't necessarily understand your central complaint, Kyle, that like you're afraid future movies there's going to be no new ideas and nothing to play out. There's so much fertile ground here where he can give us new plot points
Right.
and stories.
There is, but just because I saw such a retread of this movie, I'm hoping that we move on from so much human Navi conflict, and I just want more Pandora.
So your preference would be like the third movie, Sky People are gone, and it's just like a war between two Na'vi tribes,
Yeah,
or like not even a war, like someone starts a business and tries to become successful or something like
not
that.
a business. No, I don't want day to day. Like I still need comment. No. Like I said, I think it'd be cool if the Colonel is rallying other Na'vi against Jake Sully because they're like, look, Jake Sully's the reason why the forests got attacked. Jake Sully's the reason why the water got attacked, and like they're coming for you next. So don't fight the Sky People. Fight Jake Sully. He's the problem.
I could absolutely see that, and like if you look at the percentage of human faces on screen in Avatar, and then you compare it to the number of human faces on screen in this, it's almost nothing in this movie. Now, they've had human characters that have turned into Na'vi, but I think as we get deeper, it's going to be less and less human, and it's almost non-existent human, except for characters that they've moved from human to Na'vi.
I'm sure Edie Falco will be back. Like, you don't cast her in that role, give her 3 scenes, and then do nothing with her after that.
And I loved her little role.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
I'm sure she'll be back, but I don't think she'll be back in a much bigger way than she was already in this movie.
I liked the new mech suits, like the lighter, more limber ones, like
the crab
more like
mechs
skeletons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the crab leg one was super cool. I thought the mech suits were cool. This movie had underwater jujitsu, which I've never seen before.
Sure.
In the fight between Jake Sully and the Colonel, I was like, oh, that's some straight up jujitsu right there, underwater.
Can we talk about the sailors?
Sure.
The boat captain.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm like with the hats and the bloomy pants.
Yeah.
Sailors.
Yeah.
Okay.
The sailors.
Yeah.
So first of all,
the fishermen.
Yeah.
The whalers. I think they're whalers. We can call them
the whalers.
Yes.
It was distracting to me that Jermaine Clement was just happened to be in this movie.
Was he the scientist?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was weird.
He wasn't the main scientist, right? He was like the sidekick scientist, right?
No, he was the main scientist. He was not the captain.
He was not the hunter, the main hunter.
He wasn't the guy with the whatever you call that thing.
The harpoon.
Yeah.
It's just
the harpoon. Yeah.
Funny, like a traditionally like New Zealand comedian was cast as an American, like not particularly funny character.
It didn't really do a lot. He's just there to like explain things.
Didn't bother me at all. But
it didn't like stick out to you that you knew him.
I haven't watched a ton of Jermaine Clement stuff. So.
Okay.
Have we moved on from unobtainium to whale
brain
fluid?
juice?
Whale juice?
Yeah, whale juice. Is that the new thing? Like, forget unobtainium. We don't need that anymore.
From what I understand, you have to get the whale juice to pay for the mining of the unobtainium.
Well, they said the whale juice stops human aging.
Right, but that you sell that.
Oh, I guess
they said for 80 million a vial, and that pays for the rest of the operation. Which is
why does the unobtainium not pay for the operation?
Usually, mining pays for itself. That's the idea behind the industry.
Are they losing money on the mining?
No, but they have to fund the finding the unobtainium.
Well, yeah, but there's people that have $80 million without.
They literally say that in the movie. All right,
do they?
Yeah, they say the. Whatever they're getting right when they're extracting the juice, and he says, "You know how much this is worth? 80 million."
Yeah,
like literally, he says $80 million, which seems like weird for that. They put an actual number.
70 million. What? Does he say 80?
Either way, guys, this is 80 million in 2154. Like, how much is that really?
He doesn't say dollars. He just says 80 million.
Okay, 80 million space credits. My bad.
He does say 80 million.
Okay, true. It's not dollars. I just assume it's dollars, but
yeah.
I mean, it was weird. I think he says this funds your research. So the Jermaine Clement was a researcher of some sort.
Yeah.
But he's being funded by the sale of whale brain serum.
Can we just say how evil what they're doing is? Like, to kill something that's like more intelligent than humans, that's just so evil. That's why
Yeah.
That's why when the main captain gets killed, my theater erupted.
Do you notice he loses an arm just like that one whale lost its fin?
Yeah.
Poetic justice right there.
Did you guys have a personal reaction when that happened?
Yeah, there's definitely a cheer. Yes. I let out a ooh or something like that.
Yeah, there were way more oohs than cheering in mine.
Yeah, there was
my crowd clapped.
Yeah, Zach, you seem to go to very animated crowds. Like whenever you talk about
Got
movies,
to.
you're talking about like the clapping and the standing up and the cheering, and I get much more oohs in mine. So
It's an
I
experience.
think you attract blanket people. I don't know.
Megan wants me to tell you guys, I did wear sweatpants to the movie theater today.
Well, that's one step closer
I
to
know.
bringing a blanket.
Even Megan was like, "You're wearing sweatpants." I'm like, "It is 3.5 hours on me on my butt. I'm not sitting on jeans the whole time."
Normally you wear your Sunday best. I'm proud of you.
That's a tailored blanket.
A suit. No, now they're joggers,
week,
so they're not just any old
Snuggie.
sweatpants. Like they're they're stylized.
Are you allowed to wear a Snuggie? Is that allowed, Kyle?
Snuggie?
It's not technically a blanket, and it's not sweatpants. Somewhere in the middle.
I bought a Snuggie for Megan, like when Snuggies were big years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was on that website, and I'm like, I'm definitely getting my credit card stolen as I go through this process. And sure enough, a month later, I'm getting phone calls from my credit card company. Like, did you spend $1,000 on shoes? No. Did you spend $400? I'm like, okay, well, that's the Snuggie website right there.
What website did you buy it from? That's so weird.
I bought it from Snuggie.com. It was and we actually got a Snuggie. Like it wasn't fraud.
What made you predict that it was scummy?
It was just the layout of the website, the buttons, the process I was going through. Like nothing about it felt legit.
Huh.
And like everything in the back of my brain said, "Don't go through with this." And then in front of me is like, "But Megan wants a Snuggie." I mean, and it's fine. Like when your credit card gets stolen and there's a bunch of bad charges, you just say, "Hey, get rid of those." And it wasn't a huge do or anything about it. But
all right.
But I correctly called that this is going to be a bad decision, and it was.
Next time you should use those powers for self-preservation.
I know. Hey, you live and you learn. Thankfully, I lived. Yeah. So,
sure.
But yeah, so the Snuggies in this movie were something. All right.
I like the Titanic touches at the end. I thought that was great with the sinking of the ship. The Space Marine stuff was just, it totally reminded me of Aliens.
Yep.
And all that fun stuff. But like, just James Cameron doing Aliens, but mashing it with Avatar. And I loved that. It's interesting that in this one, there's no like dark animals. There's no scary animals. Whereas in the first one, they at least tried to have like kind of the tiger of the Pandora world.
Yeah.
In it.
There was that one creature that attacked the kid before the whale saved him.
Oh, right. There was like a fish moment. There's definitely like a episode 1 moment in this where I was like, okay.
Well, James, when did you go to the bathroom?
I went to the bathroom when the Sigourney Weaver character was like sitting on a branch with like dangling her feet in the water, talking to somebody about something.
James, that's the exact same moment I went to the bathroom.
I assumed.
Yep.
I was almost sure that's when anybody would go to the bathroom because I was like, I can tell this is not going to go anywhere fast, so I can go to the bathroom and probably this scene will still be going on when I get back.
And you also felt like action's gonna start very soon here. Like we are getting close to the end game. If I'm gonna go to the bathroom, it's got to be now because I don't want to be going to the bathroom while explosions are happening.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So she was talking to her dad.
So we were in sync.
And just so you know, Zach, that was a preemptive bathroom going. It was not like an emergency, but I was like, you know what? I better just, get rid of whatever's in there now, so I know I can last through this last hour of the movie.
Mine, I mean, I could practically taste it. I had to go. It was done.
Okay. Well, see, my bladder better than James. Just want to say, I was being proactive.
I'll tell you really quickly what that scene was, and then I want to ask a question if you heard them talk about one element.
Okay.
So that was her talking to her dad about like when she had her seizure underwater.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she basically was like, "Do you believe me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I believe you." Right. So like they connected at that moment. And then did you hear the discussion later where someone says that like she can never do that again?
Mm-hmm.
She'll die if she does it again.
I heard that. Yes.
Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, so the conversation. So we missed the part where she was talking to her dad about the seizure, but I later heard the part where like she cannot connect to the life tree again.
Gotcha.
And
But they don't recommend she connect to the life tree again.
Right. And I was waiting for her to connect to the life tree again. I was like, oh, okay, here's like they're setting
She's
up some sort
absolutely going to do that.
and she does. I mean, she does do that cool thing where she like controls the jellyfish. I thought that was neat. So they're showing that she has some power. There's something special about her.
She's like Pandora's first superhero.
Yeah, but
I think she's like Awa's. I think the mysterious birth has something to do with Awa. Like she's like a child of Awa. Or
She's
she
the
like,
Christ figure.
Is she Christ? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
The virgin birth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, are we then going to go down like Christ allegory? Because that's never been done before in movies.
Kyle acts like movies aren't just the same stories being retold over
like
and
there
over.
aren't 12 stories in the world.
James Cameron,
and
it's not enough to
there's 12
innovate.
stories, and James Cameron told the same one twice for Avatar. He's like, I'm going to do that one again. It's fine.
It's not enough to innovate 11 ways. He wants all 12 or nothing.
Hey, if you want 5 stars out of me, you got to like wow me. You got to give me, I need all the quadrants filled.
Yeah. Instead, he gives it the same score he gave Eternals.
Did I give Eternals 3.5?
Yeah.
Oh, that is
too
incorrect.
high.
That is way too
You
high.
liked Eternals the same as Avatar: The Way of Water.
No, Eternals is probably 2.5. I must have been high or something when I gave that rating. I'm just saying, you like this movie as much as Back to the Future, Zach. This is a Jurassic Park level movie for you.
As far as a theater experience, I had as much fun watching this as watching Back to the Future.
Are you gonna? I don't think you're gonna feel this is being a 5-star movie in 6 months. Like you're gonna watch this again, maybe on your TV, and be like,
Maybe
yeah,
it'll
that
go
was
down.
good.
Who knows?
I'm just
It can
preempting.
only go down.
I'm preempting the drop from 5-star, the precipitous drop that everyone's gonna have.
Precipitatious, yeah.
Precipitous, yeah. The precipitation of stars falling off of letterboxes. Everyone's like, nah, that's not a 5-star movie.
The precipitation is gonna be huge.
The precipitation of this movie is gonna be.
What else do we need to talk about?
Let's see, Underwater Jiu-Jitsu, sequels. What else you got? Mech suits, Forest. That's all I got.
Probably my last thing, and this is nitpick that I wish we could have brought up in non-spoiler, but it is too spoilery.
We nitpick a 5-star movie now, James.
I nitpick no matter what.
Okay.
Is the son, right?
Which one?
The son who gets his brother killed.
Okay,
Yes.
the younger son.
If I have one story complaint, it's that I didn't care about the older brother. Because they didn't spend a lot of time giving him a lot of personality like they did the younger son. And so when the older son died, I felt bad for the younger son, but didn't feel bad that the older son died. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like my emotional reaction was because of what it meant for the younger son, not because the older son died. I didn't care about the older. It could have been any of the 3 kids that died.
Can I make a case for why they did that?
Yes.
Why?
If you cared about that son more,
Mm-hmm.
I think it could really turn you off to this movie.
That
To have the older
killed
one
a
die?
favorite character.
That the character that you now care about that they died, I think that could just, I don't know, leave you with a bad taste in your mouth. Like, you know, when at the end when Neytiri slices Spider's neck, and at first you're not sure, did she just like kill Spider or did she just hurt him?
Chest, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was his neck.
It was
his
his
chest.
It was across the chest.
Okay.
She did have it held to his neck, and then when she
Yeah,
did it, she
okay.
lowered it to his chest.
There was a moment where you're like, is she going to kill him? And if she did, I'm not okay with that.
Mhm.
You know? And in the same way of like, you're like, you care too much about her to have her just kill someone in cold blood to get what she wants.
Mhm.
If you care too much about the older brother, it's I don't know. I think it's like killing a dog in I Am Legend. You're like, you care, it just turns you off.
Mhm.
Spoilers for I Am Legend.
This is the spoiler section
Yeah.
of both Avatar and I Am Legend.
Some poor YouTube listener is gonna be like, "Oh, come on, guys! I was gonna watch that one next."
They're waiting for the hype to die down.
Exactly. I had a thought. Go
I
ahead.
I understand what you're saying, Zach, but I
You could get in a little bit more.
I felt like, yeah, there just wasn't enough stakes there for me to be like, okay.
Yeah.
That being said, when the movie was over, there were people like wiping their eyes when the lights came back on and stuff like that. So I think
Really?
I think other people were emotionally affected by things that happened in this movie. I
gotcha.
didn't happen to be emotionally affected by any of it, but
Yeah.
but I had a fun time watching it for sure.
I'm with you in the sense of I cared much more about how it affected the rest of the family than
Mhm.
about the guy that died.
Yeah.
Right.
When the lights came up on this movie or the credits started, a girl behind me said, "Dad, are you crying?" And then the woman who I assume to be the mother, the mom in that family said, "Oh my God, that was amazing." And I really wanted to interview them in the moment about that movie. Like, please tell me more about.
Oh,
Yes.
I heard a lot of raves on my way out.
Yeah.
I didn't
Though-
hear any complaints from the normies on the way out.
I did hear one guy, he was talking to his kids, and he apparently like did not watch the last hour of the movie because the 3D was giving him a headache.
That's a
So he
bummer.
like sat in the
Interesting.
lobby for an hour while his kids finished the movie. And
What a good dad.
and the kid also was bothered by the fact that Stephen Lang did not die. And he was like, "We've seen Stephen Lang before." And I was like, "Thank you, kid, 12-year-old. Come on my
What a
podcast. I need some backup
Bloodthirsty
here."
little creep.
Yeah, he,
I'm ready for his redemption story. I want the Darth Vader.
Me too. I like it. Well, like what happened? Let's say he's not brought back, right? So
Yeah.
we get a brand new villain in this movie. Come on.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No,
No, thank you.
we
Let's
just start
link it to the
focus-
first.
we just start focus on that's why I want, well, I've said this before, I want the Colonel and separatist Na'vi trying to get rid of Jake Sully. That's the threat.
You know what they
who do you
should have
want to
done?
win in that?
Yeah, what?
Who do you want to win? Like, what's the outcome that you're looking for in that?
Jake Sully could die. I don't care.
That's what you want the message of the trilogy to be like. Yeah, Jake Sully was the bad guy after all. He
I
did
mean, he
free the Na'vi from.
I don't know. Like, I'm bothered by Jake Sully in the first movie. That it's kind of the white savior thing, of like the Na'vi are under attack. They don't know what to do. And then Jake Sully's like, "Oh, what if we band with the other tribes?" And I'm like, "Oh, what a great idea!" Like, no, I don't know. The fact that the non-native guy had to have all the bright ideas in the first movie just really bothered me.
I hope in the next
They're
one
not
they
stupid.
bring back Michelle Rodriguez. But it's like
I
but
missed
it's
her in
like-
this movie.
it's like brain space Michelle Rodriguez before she went to the Na'vi side.
Oh, so she's still. Oh, you want her to like Fast and Furious 6 her, where
Right.
she's been brainwashed and thinks she's one of the bad guys again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to hear my prediction of what I think the
Vin
5
Diesel
movies are?
is in these later movies, so we might just get a Fast and Furious.
Is that true?
Yes, Vin Diesel is. I don't know if he's in number 3, but I think he's at least in later movies. Yeah.
Zach, hit us with your theory.
I think the third movie is where we get our Darth Vader redemption of the Colonel.
Okay.
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 The fourth movie and the fifth movie, I haven't totally sussed this out yet. Remember the throwaway line where they're gonna like Earth is dying and we need to move the humans here?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth movie is about how they are gonna figure out how to coexist. Fifth movie, external enemy, bloodthirsty aliens from outer space come to Pandora, a third life form, not Na'vi or human, and they have to band together to protect against them. And that's what brings them together.
I can see it.
So the
It's kind of
one's
late
gonna
in the
be
game
called-
to introduce a third one in the 5th movie and like not hint at it at all up until then.
Oh, they hinted at it. They hinted at it.
Not in the first 2.
Yeah, there's been no
There
mention.
were aliens in both those movies.
But there's been no mention of other aliens. Like so far, for all we know, there are 2 planets. That's it.
2 inhabited
Yeah.
planets. Yeah.
Well, this is going to give Kyle what he wants, things that are new. Not
I
he
want
just
new
has
things.
to wait through 3 more movies.
Yeah.
To
No,
get it.
I am optimistic, and I'm looking forward to number 3.
Mhm.
If number 3 gives me more Jake Sully fighting the Colonel and humans, I may tap out of this series, to be completely honest. So I
All
think number 2, it gave me some breadcrumbs of like, okay, this is better than Avatar. I will agree. Technically, it's amazing. What you got for me on story wise? Because right now I'm not getting a ton.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough.
I'm gonna go
Can I
watch
say
The
one
Fall
last
now.
thing?
Actually, just to
Can I say
you know.
one last thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
I walked out of Avatar being like, this was Pocahontas.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
This second movie did not feel like Pocahontas to me.
No, this second movie felt like the last hour and a half of Avatar stretched out over 3 hours.
It felt like a James Cameron mashup to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they redid Pocahontas.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying like they just kind of gave us the same beats we felt on the action side of. Anyway, I'm repeating myself a lot here, so I
Nice.
think my point's been made.
Okay. Anything else? Spoiler talk. Anybody changing their rating or anything? I'm still 5 stars.
He's convinced me. Is it
3.5?
He hasn't. No.
Okay.
Yeah, take it down to 4.5 at least.
No.
I promise you will rewatch this movie someday, and it'll not be a 5-star movie.
I
He
doubt I
promises
will
you.
ever give it.
Now it'll never happen, Kyle. Now that
I
you've
doubt
thrown
I
the
will ever
gauntlet.
do what Kyle did and give it the same rating as On the Rocks, that forgettable Bill Murray movie with Rashida Jones.
On the Rocks was a technical marvel of Bill Murray and Rashida Jones finally in the same room together.
Same rating.
All right,
All
guys.
right,
That's
maybe a 4-star, maybe, but I'm not ready to make that budget yet, though. So
That's it for Avatar spoiler. Avatar: The Way of Water. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.